Luann takes you down to her place in Palm Beach. She was staying at the Colony, but was found in another room. And you know that she's half crazy, but that's why you wanna be there. We knew she drank a lot, but always thought she could hold her liquor. And just when you mean to tell her that the bush seems far less funny, then she gets you on her wavelength with that dirty floral dress and yelling at cops she'll kill them all. And you want to travel with her, and you want to know what Tom thinks, and you know her kids are angry, and you know her niece will put this in her show. Hello.
That was beautiful, Casey.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Leonard Cohen for providing
background tune.
Yes. Suzanne, who knew it was really meant to be Luann.
Welcome to Bitch Sesh, everybody.
I'm Casey Wilson.
I'm Danielle Schneider.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And hope your holidays were good. I mean, we all
experienced an interruption.
It was. And I know people during the holidays were calling for us to make a statement, but honestly, I felt we all needed to process.
I was occupied with 2 children in my dad's dank basement. So it was harder for me to get to technology, but I heard all about it.
Oh, yeah.
It was shocking.
Shocking. I was woken up by a text from one Greg Bennett.
Yeah, of course.
Friend of the show.
Abby Elliott, my girlfriend from Saturday Night Live, she texted me the funniest thing because like the headline said that Luann said to the police officers, "I want to kill you all." Yes. And Abby likened it to the Jinx with Robert Durst saying, "Killed them all, of course." Yeah. It's so good.
It was incredible.
Incredible.
See her in that floral dress.
That dirty floral dress.
And to just be standing. But I have to say, her mugshot was flawless.
It was like smug and just kind of like, it was kind of like the mugshot version of Falling in the Bushes. Just like, yeah, here I am.
Not really. It was like the mugshot.
She's like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I fucked a pirate. Like, what? Like, it was there. I mean, she looked gorgeous. She was a handsome woman. She looked beautiful.
Now, I have a question, which is, I understood from the Daily Mail, I was going to say the police reports, but of course the Daily Mail, that she had a room at the Colony and yet was trespassing in another room with a man and a woman. They immediately left. The other woman I saw was just Instagramming from her own hotel room, like nothing had happened, just like selfies of herself as Luann is wrestled down to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. Wrestled.
I mean, that was incredible. What happened? Obviously, Tom happened.
You think this goes all back to Tom?
Oh, yeah. It's a year anniversary.
See, I think this is Lou. And we started here. Then Lou drew like a circle and was at the farthest point from that circle when we met her on the Housewives. And we've just gone all the way around the sun. And we're back to Lou.
Wow. This is Connecticut Lou. Nurse
This is
Lou.
40. This is Lou.
This is... Wow. I mean, I found it to be exhilarating.
Charming.
Yes. I was thrilled that it happened. It gave me a rush like you wouldn't believe.
And then when she had to put out that kind of trickled out that statement of like, I'm going to rehab.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Lou.
And then I read online, someone forwarded me that she's going to be doing her cabaret act at Studio 54 in a matter of weeks. So she's really bounced back.
She's just doing a quick stint.
Yeah. So I
feel like she's going to like an outpatient thing, like a couple sessions, couple hours, and being like, I don't have an alcohol problem.
Yes, for sure.
I feel like her voice now in my head is Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I feel like she's like Harvey Fierstein.
Beetlejuice when he's Beetlejuice.
Yeah. She is down low. She's down in the depths. She's in her lower voice, her lower register.
So crazy seeing that mugshot of her. It was a shock.
It was, and then just with the quote, "I will kill you all,"
and they said she was violent.
I believe that.
Yeah, kicking and screaming.
She has a fire inside her.
I just wish, if anything, Lou, like, we're standing by you. Just show some of that on the show.
Yeah. I mean,
she has to now.
We got a little of it. And we have it in drips and drabs, you know, like when we see the pirate or like inviting men back to the room and not giving
All
a
I can
shit.
say is when they relegate someone to kind of like a partial cast member, it's like they're on their way out. Like they're not coming back. Meanwhile, here's Lou, like a phoenix from the ashes, rising.
I mean, you can't keep her down.
Nope.
I mean, I can't wait for next season. All of us are waiting with bated breath.
Now, does she have an alcohol problem? I'm not so sure.
In that,
I mean, clearly she
she does, but I think she can handle it. I mean,
I do too. Like, I feel like nothing that happened here is anything Lou can't handle.
Yeah, I believe she has.
I feel like she's got a good control over all of this.
Oh, me too. I feel like, you know what? We've all had a bad night or two.
Yeah, and around New Year's, it's a very tough. New Year's to me is a very tough holiday when you're grieving something.
Yes,
I just think it's really difficult.
And you know you're alone on New Year's, and you want like it's all tough. And this again was a year ago that she was just in Palm Beach. She's back.
Thanks for contextualizing that. I dropped it in, but it fell away.
Yeah.
This was a year anniversary. And you know that Tom was smug as
that
hell.
Tomcat.
Yeah. Catting around.
He's out with some new whore. new round heel.
Yes. It's just, wow. Well, look, Danielle, we have someone else who wants to speak to this. It's not just us. And we called upon a friend of the podcast who has done 2 poems about Luann in various stages of her life. And he's here with a third. And he remarked, this is a trilogy.
Yeah. As you said, I think it's his Lord of the Rings.
And you said, this is his legacy.
Yes.
Please welcome Greg Bennett with a poem about the latest events.
Hello, Casey. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Bitch Sesh listeners. This is Greg Bennett wishing you all a happy new year. I'd like to thank everyone who reached out when the news about Countess Luann broke. I honestly didn't think I'd have to be writing a 3rd poem about this woman who I do not know and have never met so soon after the 2nd poem I wrote about her divorce. But I guess we make plans and God laughs. And so I present without further ado,
I love
O Countess, my Countess 3. 'Twas literally the night before Christmas, and down in Palm Beach, old Countess Lou was exercising free speech. I'll kill you all, she said, as they dragged her away. But let's back up a moment. There's a lot more to say. See, my dear Countess Lou has had quite a rough year. Her Tommy, he left her. That check did not clear. She returned to the town where they wed last New Year's Eve. She chatted up a stranger and tugged on his sleeve. Come to my room, she said, and pushed floor number 4. They got out of the elevator and opened the door. See, the problem old Lou just did not foresee is that her room wasn't on 4. Her room was on 3. They were in the wrong room, but care they did not. They kicked out the maid, and things then got hot. A knock on the door interrupted their sleep, but Lou wouldn't leave. She had planted her feet. The cops were then called, and that thickens the plot. Old Lou wasn't budging, wasn't leaving that spot. Slammed the door in their faces, she kicked and she yelled. She removed her own handcuffs. She was giving them hell. We awoke the next morning and all read the news. Oh, Lou was embarrassed. She was singing the blues. In the days that have followed, Lou's shown great remorse. She's going to rehab and getting back on the horse. I think that our girl will come out on top. 2018's her year, and she's not going to stop. A cabaret show in February will set the new tone. For a comeback so triumphant, Ramona's singer will groan. We're all with you, Lou, for this journey you're on. Chic, c'est la vie. C'est bon. C'est bon.
We make plans and God laughs.
And I love how he ends each each poem
Each one.
with that French.
That was Greg. I didn't think you could top yourself. And to the, dare I say, tune of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, you've done it again.
He has. He surprises. He takes me on a journey every time.
We knew we had to call on you,
Yes.
and you answered.
Oh, he answered the call. He was in Mexico, and he was like, I will get this done. He was like celebrating the new year.
Greg Bennett, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Never has there been someone on a reality show who is actually funny.
Yeah.
He is the only person, maybe Nene Leakes.
Yes, that's true. But
I'm not coming up with anyone
no,
else.
he is truly hilarious.
Wow. Bravo.
Bravo, and Greg Bennett. Thank you, Greg.
And we are behind you, Lou.
We are, for sure. Please come back. Get well soon.
Or don't get well.
So, speaking of New Year's, it's a new year.
Yeah.
We've all come back from the break. New Year's is actually my birthday, New Year's Day.
Happy birthday, Danielle.
Thank you. I actually celebrated with you.
Yes.
And the girls with Miss June Diane and Jessica St. Clair and our girlfriend Morgan and Rebecca. And it was you set up a whole dinner and it was really, really lovely. I got a purse to end all purses, this Claire V purse that... I mean, I don't know how to bring her out.
This is not a joke or marketing. I had rented this purse from Rent the Runway and was carrying it as a rental. But
you gave it to me. So
we
thank
gave you
for
the real
that.
thing.
You
It's
did.
really something.
I haven't taken her out yet for a walk. I don't want to get her dirty, so I just look at her.
And she's a red circle.
Beautiful
Purse. We had such a great time.
Yes, we really did. And highs and lows, where we were at my birthday and we were just all talking about our plans for the new year, talking about health, talking about diets and things of that nature. And our girlfriend, Jessica St. Clair, who has been very open about her journey with breast cancer last year, we were talking about sugar and how it's not great for you. And
Well, she said it's a poison.
yes, she said it's a poison and it causes cancer.
And at that moment, 2 cakes came out that I got for Ms. June Diane, whose birthday is tomorrow, and for you.
Yeah,
and they were
gorgeous cakes.
sizable cakes. And it just felt like I'm killing my friends.
Yeah, it was literally like cake gives you cancer and then happy birthday.
2, not 1, but 2. And then the restaurant prepared 2. I thought they were going to do kind of like wedding style slices for each of us. It was hunks.
Huge of
Gargantuan.
and
of
red
course,
velvet and a sort of a vanilla
berry shortcake.
Berry, yeah.
My resolution, as it always is to down on the LBs. And I'm back at Weight Watchers. It's so sad. I've logged in so many times that when I looked at my login, there was 64 names. It was Casey 1. It was Wilson 447. Rose Wilson 229. Orchard Street Blues. And it's humbling. My resolution is just to lose. Mama's got some baby weight to lose.
You're looking fantastic,
Danielle.
though. You are, though. You are. You don't feel fantastic?
Danielle.
Sorry. Well, you look amazing.
I look like a pale pumpkin.
No, you don't.
Look, I'm working in cognitive behavioral therapy on trying to have compassion for myself.
Please.
And I'm doing an exercise, which is to just say, yeah, I won't get into that. But you know what, guys, in the new year, I'm trying to have compassion. And thank you, Danielle.
Well,
for saying
wonderful.
that.
Also,
it was your birthday. Did you get anything else?
yes, my husband.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
My husband, lovely. We're all going to go on a vacation at some point this year, and that's part of the gift. But I also came home to a lingerie set, which he purchased on Amazon.com. I don't know if that's my first choice destination for lingerie. I mean, you can go down Victoria's Secret.
It's not Valentine's Day.
No.
This is just kind of seems like a present for him.
Yeah, and he acknowledged that.
Yeah.
He did say, I got a present for you. I get now how it's
this was
probably for
after
me.
dinner.
Yes. This
last
was,
night. We went a 3.5 hour dinner. I didn't get home till 11:30.
Yes. I was presented just hanging on a door.
What?
With some like a lingerie, and it was interesting lingerie. You know, again, what a man wants in lingerie and what a woman wants are two different things.
Yeah.
Or I should
I want
say,
like those like fuzzy airport socks.
yeah, like I want like a sweatpant, lingerie
thick
and
sweatpant.
a sweatpant material, like I'm most comfortable in.
And like an oversized Adele shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Or like just something that like has sweat stains on
Yeah.
it. You know, like it's old rubbish.
Now,
gear.
was this a grotesque little number?
Well, it wasn't grotesque. It was just there were large cutouts where like breasts should be.
Oh my God.
So like it wasn't so much like
Where was the fabric?
like on my stomach. I was
Okay.
covering up my stomach, but I wasn't quite. I couldn't get my head around it at first. So and I literally like was like caught in the closet, like ah.
And may I ask, where did your long pubes go?
Well, good thing there was like a lot of.
A lot of what?
Oh, also, my father listens to this podcast. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Dad.
A lot of what?
Just a space.
So there was a cutout for your crotch
Yeah.
too? Oh my God. God bless you. I came home, David had like TV blaring, was like passed out on the couch. Wow.
So it was, quite a sight.
Your husband desires you at a level that you should take as such a compliment.
I do. He does. I have nothing else to say except for.
So you had to get to stepping in that little number.
Stepping. Wow. But it was easy to get to stepping. I mean, there was nothing left to the imagination. It was just mostly.
Right. It was quick.
It was, I mean, not super quick, but.
Sure.
But, like we took as much time as was needed.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, and to my husband.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story,
Yeah,
Danielle.
thank you, and my long pubes. I had trimmed them.
One thing.
Just FYI, they've shortened with time.
Wait, they've shortened. I'm sorry. So your pubes are like Benjamin buttoning.
I mean, I have personally Benjamin buttoned them. Like,
Okay.
I have.
Did you know
attended to them?
Totally unrelated to this
Yeah.
lingerie. You weren't like in there with one leg up on the sink.
No. No, I have. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't
Cutting
have
away
been
like
better. No, like
Edward
even
Scissorhands.
hacking away at the bushes, at the brush.
Edward with those topiary.
Clear it out. No, I had hacked away earlier.
Okay, I think we'll
You brought it up.
I know,
you can't
but-
just shut me down once you've introduced
I
the
know.
subject.
wow. There was one other thing that came up at dinner that was so funny.
Yeah.
Which is that, as you know, Junta not taking it on has had such a life of its own. People are genuinely using this as a mantra for 2018.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful. I am. We all are. One of our girlfriends last night, our girlfriend Rebecca, was like, I'm using it as a mantra.
Yep.
Like, yeah, just.
We've heard from people, honestly, I'm going to say it all over the globe.
Yeah.
Who are not taking it on. So if something's not being taken on in your life, it's because someone else is not taking it on.
So you need to look at you.
Man in the mirror.
Yeah.
But at first I thought that my kind of like theme for the year was going to be, as my beloved trainer slash coach, as she calls herself, Lacey Stone, my trainer, also on Revenge Body Season 2. Her kind of mantra, what a mantra I took from her, which, as you know, she screamed out in a spin class once, was "not today, bitch." So that was what I was working with, is "not today, bitch." However, last night, Jessica, out of nowhere, pulled out what she thinks we all need to do in 2018, given the political climate, given everything, given the fact that
Life
I
is
don't
tough.
know if we're going to be on this earth
Yeah.
tomorrow.
What's going on in the world and in our
Thanks
own
to
lives.
DT, little Donnie.
Yeah.
Going to blow us to smithereens.
And the new expression for the year is fuzz it up.
Fuzz it up. That means get your Xanax, get your weed, have your alcohol,
Sometimes
whatever.
it can be just buying curtains, buying a runner, whatever makes you feel
Spending
good.
money, taking a bath. You're just fuzzing things up. You got to take the edge off. You got to put the blinders on. You can't look at anything too clearly this year.
Give yourself a buzz. Whatever gives you a buzz, do that thing and fuzz it up.
Fuzz it up.
Fuzz it up.
So those are just some mantras. You can take any one of them.
Take or leave, but that really helped me.
Danielle, before we take a quick break, let's we have some exciting news about New York.
Yes. Now, I know a lot of people have been asking us to, our first show sold out. Our show on March 24th at 8 p.m. at the PlayStation Theater sold out so quickly, and people have been asking us for a second show, and we are delivering on it. Guys, we don't have the tickets for sale yet. The tickets are going to go up for sale next week, and so we'll announce it again on the podcast, but we are going to do another show on March 24th, Saturday the 24th, but it's going to be sort of like a 4 o'clock show, we're pretty sure.
We were given the option to do a late night show, and we said we're elders as our audience.
Yes, and so we
Nobody
said
wants to be out at midnight.
No, get boozy during the day, go for brunch with your friends, and then come and see us. We did that in DC last year. It was so fun.
We made that executive decision that our audience would prefer a 4 to a 10:30.
Yeah, who do we think we are?
Yeah, I won't be up.
So that's going to go on sale.
That's going to go on sale next week. Something really, really exciting is I mentioned on the podcast, but here's the details. We are going to do a Real Housewives themed spin class. Now, look, is my beloved Lacey Stone teaching it? No, she's not, because this idea came to us from a listener and a fan, a lovely, delightful man that I've been in contact with. He's a spin instructor. His name is Chris Eisenegger. And he has put this whole thing together. So Danielle and I will be there. We are spinning on Saturday, January 20th at 8 a.m. And online registration for the class opens on Sunday, January 7th. And it's going to be at Dragonfly Cycling, which is 4455 Van Nuys Boulevard, Sherman Oaks, California, guys. Dragonfly Cycling. And we'll put a flyer up on Instagram if you want to join us. It's going to be spinning to all Housewives songs.
I'm so excited for this. I'm going to look like Shannon caught in that sad little bike. That will be me.
Yeah, well, you can't get your... and half the proceeds, this is really exciting, is going to go to the Brezzi Foundation, which is an after-school program in Los Angeles helping kids at risk. So we're really excited. And there's not a lot of bikes, but it's just a fun fuck all.
Yeah, and I won't be good, but as my workout instructor said to me today, you're moving, and that's something.
Well, and I'm sorry to keep bringing up Lacey, but I have an obsession. As she said to me when she sent an email to our entire boot camp and called everyone out personally for what they were bringing to the class, she said, and this is a direct quote, Casey, great hoodie.
And on that, we'll take a little break.
We're back.
Oh, wow. Now, you did an emergency podcast 2 weeks ago to intro the new Beverly Hills season, to bring us into Teddy Mellencamp and the like. So
bring
that
us
was
up to speed.
Yeah, to bring us up to speed. And 2 episodes have passed since then, since we've been back. And guys, I'm really liking this season of Beverly Hills. I feel like we're on the up. We're on the up. I don't think we're there yet, but I feel like there's stuff. What do you think?
I'm absolutely enjoying it. I'm loving putting my eyes on it, but I'm not titillated. Nothing's jumping out at me. I feel like they're so excited right now that they're all getting along, and I'm like, but that's not why I'm here.
But they're not going to for long. This can't last.
And Dorit and PK are stirring shit up
all over the
left
place.
and right.
And I think Teddy's stirring. I think Teddy is going to come for somebody.
Well, Teddy did that in this last episode, that really sad kind of first season Housewives thing where like she knew she had to pull something out. It was like the 4th season. She's like, Erica, it felt like you kind of dismissed me.
Yes.
Teddy has a low valley girl voice.
And she also has a chip on her shoulder about Hilton Head, South Carolina, which is quite a resort town. She's just like...
She's acting like she was... what was that movie with Jennifer Lawrence that she broke out in?
Oh, yes. Like... I want to say the Winter Boat. I almost said Wind River.
but she's acting like she grew up like a Charlize and Monster or something.
Like she's like hard scruff.
Hard scrabble life.
Yeah,
and you know what I have to say, and I'm sorry for anyone in Los Angeles, it's my least favorite character about this disgusting town, is like people whose parents are famous, which there are many, many people out here, and I'm not saying you can't be a great person, but most likely they're all like, I mean, I didn't grow up rich. They're the first to tell you what they didn't have, and it's like, but why are you living in Beverly Hills, sweetie?
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird.
And guess what? Your business of accountability is not affording you that house. Whatever you want to say, your accountability coach business is not affording you
Maybe
that house.
Edwin's security business.
He's a background dancer. That's what he is. Like, that's his savings. Like, let's know.
Ooh.
That real estate in Los Angeles is so expensive. Like, you cannot afford that in Beverly
And it's like,
Hills.
you might not like the cougar, sweetie, but the cougar bought the house.
Cougar about the house.
Yeah.
That's not Mellencamp money. That's cougar money.
I know. And I like Teddy. I think she seems very sweet.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
I think she's sweet. And I would love her to be my accountability coach. Genuinely. Although I love that she's like, when you're debating exercise, like I send you a text. I'm like, if I'm paying someone, get my ass up the mountain.
I know. You have to
come with me.
literally come pick me up. Yeah. Take me out of bed. A text ain't going to do it.
When I saw in the preview for next week, Teddy and Edwin and their 2 kids, he's got their 2 kids in the Bob. They're literally running up a mountain in LA. I was like, they are so outdoorsy.
I know.
My husband and I are indoors.
Oh, completely.
I could no more imagine that.
No, and I also find he looks like, I'm sorry, I guess I'm a little nasty, but I'm just like, I don't like his face. Is that the worst thing to say? I don't know what I don't like about it.
Oh, it's absolutely the worst thing to say.
I just don't, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it, but I'm just not there for him.
Anybody have intel on what Mikey makes as a salary?
Millions, right?
No way. No
He's
way.
just-
I bet he's pulling down $125,000 a year.
That's too much anyway for what he does, right?
He travels with her.
He does. He's always that. Like I said, she closes the door and then but when she opens it, he's there like, hey, bitch. Like he's like he lives in like her boudoir.
It's like I had a music box where the ballerina would like crumple down when I shut it. And she always says like,
Mikey.
hello.
And I feel like that her whole entourage on some level does that. Like I feel like when she's not around, they're like exhausted. And then they come out and they're like, on.
We didn't talk about it, but I loved the sketch on Saturday Night Live. It was
yes. Cecily Strong's
sketch where she's doing Erica Jane.
Yes.
And
Oh my God, amazing.
In the Larry David episode, it's towards the end. I've watched it like 10 times.
It's so funny.
It is so funny. She's playing Erica Jane and it's so good.
It's amazing.
Speaking of Erica Jane, one of our very own has crossed over.
Yes.
Much like Greg Bennett crossed over the reverse way,
Yes.
which is he was on the show and then came to us. This person has been with us on our journey and is now on the show.
Tell us. When I saw Brian J. Moylan's face pop up on like the next week
With his jorts.
I was like, I screamed
I know.
out loud. Screamed. And
Guys,
then,
Brian J. Moylan is a gem of a person, and he's so dignified. To see him on there was so jarring.
It
to
was.
see him.
it felt like you're with a friend watching TV and then like they get sucked into the TV like in like Pleasantville or something.
Yes.
Like it was so strange. It was like, wait, you were just right next to me.
It was like a boyfriend and I did mushrooms and went to Solvang, this little like Dutch town in California, and we both thought we were in the Wizard of Oz. That's what I felt seeing Brian. And he was so, he's such a funny person. And I felt like he was really like working for Erica and just being like thoughtfully asking questions. And he did a great job.
Oh, amazing. And I, of course, emailed him and insisted that he tell us of his experience, and he did for us.
He doesn't
So-
disappoint.
No,
So
he
here's
sure
Brian J. Moylan discussing his debut on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Hello, Casey, Danielle, and all of the Bitch Sesh listeners. I'm sending this dispatch from an undisclosed location because now that I've been on an episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I am so incredibly famous that whenever I leave the house, throngs of people follow me everywhere and threaten my safety. Please understand my need for privacy during this difficult time. Actually, being on the show and filming it with Erica was a lot of fun. Usually when I showed up at her office to work, she would be wearing yoga pants, have her hair up in a bun, and not a stitch of makeup on, and she always looked flawless. When I opened the door and saw her with her hair done and her face in place, I knew it was going to be a different kind of day. But the interview session you saw is what we did for hours and hours over the course of months. Me asking her questions and trying to get Erica's best stories out of her. I even used some of the stuff from the couch in the final book. Out March 28th, pre-order on Amazon now. After filming, I was a little worried about what it would be like being on the show and then having to recap my appearance. First, I was worried that it might ruin my journalistic integrity forever. Then I realized that I write about the Real Housewives and that my integrity doesn't really exist in the first place. Then I was worried that recapping my own appearance might have the same consequences as destroying the space-time continuum, feeding a gremlin after midnight, or standing in a mirror and saying Brandi Glanville's name 3 times. Instead, I just made fun of myself like I would make fun of all the Real Housewives. That is how we show our love. And now that I'm totally famous, I couldn't love myself more.
Wow. Bravo. That is how we show our love.
It sure is.
This podcast is one big love letter, Danielle.
It sure is. I mean, I feel like we love all of them.
I know. I'm so proud of you, Brian, and thank you for that. That was riveting.
Your debut was, like Erica Jane's face, flawless.
Yeah, you had your face in place, Brian. Thanks for that. Wow. What the hell is going on with Camille? Don't waste testimonial time on her.
Every time Camille comes in a room, I say to myself, because it happens every episode, here comes Camille. Like I say that out loud to myself.
Sorry to keep telling the personal anecdotes, but one time June Diane and I did a 2-woman show, and we got hired by this very rich Upper East Side woman to come and do our sketch show in her home for a cocktail party. Mm-hmm. And she didn't tell the guests. She thought it would be like charming to have like these young women just come out, and we're in full costume. It was horrible. June tripped over the boombox cord. Like it was a disaster of epic proportion. Then we had to go up, change costumes while they had appetizers, and come back down for another sketch. And this guy goes, here they come again. And that's how I feel about Camille.
Yes. She's just like, again, God bless her. She's been through a lot. You have all the money in the world. Go off into the great night. Like and I don't mean death. I just mean life.
Yeah. And I saw her do a little girlish skip at one point. I don't need to see her dance again.
Oh, that dance. It's one move. It's a gyration, not even a dance move. I mean, she was on Club MTV for a hot sec. Like, we can't call herself a dancer, but I will never forget how she had like a whole dance gym built into that house with Kelsey, where all she would do was just that move. Like a gym for that move.
She loves to dance.
She sure does.
It's funny. Camille's actually going to bring me to Lisa Rinna, if I may. Mm-hmm. If I may.
Please.
Because there's something about Camille where I feel like she came out of the gate in this way that was not her real personality to kind of have staying power. And now that she's at herself, who seems to be just like a nice dum-dum.
Yeah.
She's boring in a way. And Lisa Rinna, I feel like, is not who she was last season. What we're seeing now is Lisa Rinna. She's a nice person.
Yeah. I mean, all my interactions with her were lovely. I mean, on the day she was on Housewives. All my interactions with her that day when she was that hour when she was in the trailer, and I was like, okay, thank you, please, thank you. Yeah. She was lovely. And
I feel like it was a bit of I felt the falseness of it last season. And it obviously the shows are so false, but I really felt it last season when she was on the boat saying the cocaine thing. I'm like, you really pulled that one out.
Yeah, but I was there for it. Like I was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I was interested in it.
I had a moment where I felt like PK, I thought, and I'm going to say it, I was like, is he maybe not as detestable as I think? And then I immediately was like, he's the worst person.
He just has a Joe Gorga level of involvement, but without the charm. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe Gorga is a housewife for sure. Yeah. He is a full-time cast member. He should have whatever they hold in Jersey, a tire. I don't know, but whatever that thing is they hold in their hand. Like he is a cast member of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. PK would like to be. That is how much airtime he is getting.
I'm worried about their finances. I'm not kidding you.
Terrified. Those Hermes, is that how you say it? Plates?
$18,000 for a set of Hermes plates. It's shocking.
No, I don't know what they do for a living, but I don't believe they are as rich as they want us to believe.
It's honestly worrisome. I do find it like they're going to be shuffling in their bathrobes up and down Rodeo.
A glam squad with her all the time. I mean, that can't be cheap. Erica Jane can afford it.
Now, I know this is tough to comment on a moment with her kids. Mm-hmm. The kids are lovely. It's her reaction to them is truly so she's never seen them. She's like, Bubba. And I don't want to hear her and him call each other Bubba again.
She is shocked every time she sees her kid.
Yes.
Delighted, but shocked. She's like, like when they showed up at her birthday party.
But even when they show up in her own house, she's like, Phoenix, baby girl.
I know.
Mama's here, Bubba. It's like, Bubba, can you hear me? It's so weird.
I noticed that as well.
And I actually believe she's a great mom. It's just this very odd reaction.
Strange. Another thing that I thought to be this is the strangest, most shocking thing I have heard in forever on the Housewives. Like, this blew my mind. Jiggy is only 8. I was floored. I thought he was 18 if he was a day. I was like, this dog is on his dying breath. He's middle-aged.
Jiggy was... Jiggy's growing up before our eyes. He's growing up on television.
And yet he's always been 1,000.
No.
He's always been on death's doorstep. I thought... I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, is this a second Jiggy?
Now I'm going to say something. I missed Kyle on this last one. Kyle's the meat. She's the glue. And what is it? Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what?
Yeah, that's right.
Gone. I needed more than that little FaceTime on the boat. Bring us on the boat.
That's what
bitch.
I said. Why aren't get a cameraman to Croatia? What are we doing?
This is your time. This is your moment. I don't need the whole trip. Give us an afternoon.
Yeah.
Because Guess what? While you're out there sailing in Croatia, sweetie, Rinna and Erica Jane are going to Tokyo.
Yeah.
That was your last year's Mykonos.
That's right.
Step it up.
And I fell in love with her in Mykonos. I did. Remember
Kyle?
Kyle had was Easy Breezy Kyle in Mykonos. She did that photo shoot with Erica Jane.
They had that great sunset drink. Mm-hmm. That was nice.
It's so funny how
never forget that
their
night.
memories are now our memories. Like, we have just processed them as our own.
Never forget that night. It was just one of those nights.
It was a night you never forget.
Yeah, we were like, I don't know if it's something in the air. Is it the smells? Is it the... I don't know.
We'll never know.
Know.
It the concert, the 7-8, it was like a 4 a.m. concert. Like, we can't even make it to 10 o'clock. She's
And Erica had to rock climb up.
Oh, that was the most terrifying, like on top of like a cliff's edge.
I know.
But it was beautiful. We had a time. Can I say, I can't fucking stand Teddy and her horse. I'm done. I don't need any more of Teddy
she's
and her
like,
horse.
I was poor, yet I'm a horseback rider.
No one poor is a horseback rider.
Just own what you are.
You can't have access to a horse. I'm not even saying you own one. You can't have access to a horse without money.
I give her props for at least being self-aware enough to know she doesn't want to come off as her father's daughter. But
it's almost worse.
Yeah.
I turned you real fast.
You're right.
Right quick, you turned to my side.
The horseback riding.
No, and
girls
I can't.
And I'm going to say it, and I know a lot of listeners are like this, and I really apologize. Girls that are super into horses weird me out.
Yeah. Again, the whole thing, and then her and Lisa Rennick kept being like, we should be friends. We like horses. I was like, this is not a friendship mix.
And one of my dearest, Kulap's always doing, equine therapy and this and that. Mm-hmm. Kulap's always like, I'm trying to find myself like scraping shit off a horse hoof.
Oh, horses scare me. I feel like I'm going to get kicked by one.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No.
They're doing a very cruel thing now. Has this always been the case when they're switching from like woman to woman within the show? I feel like under Jersey and under New York, they always have a little music.
Yeah.
On Beverly Hills, they've pulled the music.
Have they?
Yes. So it is just Kyle in that brown dress. Oh. Why she wore brown for her main look.
No, I don't.
When they've got their hands on their hips and they're just turning to camera.
Yes.
It is silent. It's so cruel. It's literally like women like thinking music is coming and they're just silently working it. Dorit's is really good.
Really? I haven't been watching those intros close enough as you have been studying.
I was like, please put some music under this. It is so uncomfortable. I haven't noticed.
I would have to go home and watch it.
What else? Erica Jane gambling in Vegas. I feel like only Erica Jane could make a gambling addiction look charming.
Yeah, she has an issue, but I'm in for it. I'm here for it.
Where's Mr. Girardi?
He's off doing business dealings.
Are they still married? I've got a tidbit.
What?
A future guest gave me this tidbit. I won't say who right now. That she lives in an apartment in Hollywood, in the heart of Hollywood. And that Erica Jane lives there as well. She sees her at the mailbox quite a bit. Now, I made the point, which is that Pasadena's a hop skip.
It is. It's
not close. So I'm sure this is maybe a pied-à-terre. Yeah.
And again, I say that with no shirt.
And I said to my friend, I'm sure this is her office. This is what we've been seeing. And she was like, No,
because the office is downtown.
Right.
I don't know. I don't. Interesting.
Just mullet.
Oh, one thing I do have to say is we got a peek at Adrienne Maloof, which was a shock. Her face, for a woman that was formerly married to a plastic surgeon, her face looked insane. Like, she obviously isn't going to her husband anymore. And not that he did any good, but she's been pulled and prodded in a way that I thought she looked unrecognizable.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
kind of a sad note, but
A bit of a sad note.
yeah.
I mean, is there anything else, Danielle?
I just thought when Dorit revealed that Teddy was a Cougar Mellencamp, that it was unremarkable to the women. I feel like Rinna had a reaction, but everybody else was like, oh.
Rinna's really overdoing it with like, when I in my Tesla, although Rinna's stepping it up. Tesla.
Oh, yeah, because those girls are making some bank.
What a sad little cut they did in the beginning when they're all just like jauntily, like one of them's packing, one of them's washing dishes, one of them's stretching. Rinna's maid is like, there's rat poop in your
I
stove.
know.
It's like,
So
ooh. Oof. But Rinna is stepping it up. She's gotten a stylist, I think.
Well, she had that terrible Kris Kardashian like haircut in it
Tread
works for
lightly.
Kris. It works for Kris.
It works for Kris.
It works for Kris. Does it work for Rinna? No. Rinna's hair works for Rinna.
Now, Kyle has struck up quite a friendship with Kris. Have you been noticing this?
Yes, but haven't they been friends for
I
years?
think they've been friendly. I think their fame has fused them together.
As fame does. As I know from my fame.
But I mean, Portia, Alencia, whatever those girls' names are, every single one of them was at Chris's New Year's Eve party.
Will you get invited one day to Chris's New Year's Eve party? Do you think?
God, no.
You don't think that's ever in the cards
don't
for you?
think it's in the cards, although, speaking of New Year's resolutions, if you can't dream it, it's not going to happen.
No.
This might be a good transition, Danielle,
I think so
to our
too.
guest.
Yes.
That's right. We have a guest. Mm-hmm. We're not just nattering on
Well, we are.
alone.
but-
Oh, yeah. And we did. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have a very special guest. This is, in fact, a very special episode.
I'm scared and excited.
Guys, we're back.
We sure are.
We're back with a guest that I promised we would have in December, back in 2017.
Yeah, so long ago. We were young.
This is a guest who is a stranger to me. I met this gentleman at Go Get 'em Tiger in Larchmont Village, a coffee shop I frequent after, of course, my flywheel classes with Lacey Stone. Okay. So there I am. I'll just quickly take you through it. This gentleman came up to me and he said, I don't mean to bother you. I just promised myself I would always stop you if I met you to tell you that I'm an empath. So questions are flying at that point in my head. And he said, and I just wanted to tell you, I think you shouldn't basically be afraid of your anger. It doesn't happen every day.
No, it was liberating, and you were struck by this. You contacted me immediately, and you were like, "This is a person we need on this show. I think he has some good insight."
And he also happens to be a Housewives fan. So I then asked him to my home.
Yeah.
And here he is. As you know, I am no stranger to, what I'm not a stranger to is any type of self-help exploration, anything like this in LA.
Your kitchen cleaner or kitchen.
Hey, kitchen healer.
Sorry.
And by the way, she's been on Goop.
Oh, I saw her.
She's blowing up.
Oh, she's doing just fine.
She's doing just fine.
I haven't been on Goob, but she has.
Please welcome our guest, the ever dignified Jamie Stein.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Danielle.
Thank you for being here.
so
Thank you for
excited.
having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Now, can you explain to people that don't know as much as we know, what is an empath? And I know,
Yeah.
but others might not.
Sure. I mean, these are just my definitions, by the way. None of this is like technical, but
Sure. I think that's clear.
okay. An empath very simply is someone who can feel other people's feelings. So a lot of times, like, I will literally feel the feelings of the person that I'm with, like, in my own body. So, I mean, I think in the case of you, part of my message was about your heart. And so there are times when I'm listening to the podcast and I don't know, like, I really feel your love for Matt McConkey. And so what will happen is, like, I literally start to feel kind of my heart opening. I feel sort of a depth to it and a warmth and like an openness. And for me, that's information about, okay, I'm feeling Casey's heart here. So I just get all sorts of information. If I'm working with a client, things start happening in my body and it's like, oh, okay, you're actually very scared right now. Like, oh, okay, there's something very young in you that's pulling back right now. Oh, okay, you're actually really hurt right now. So it's just information.
Things that, sorry to cut you off, things that the person might themselves not actually being in touch with that they're feeling.
Exactly. So like my first experience, I remember the first time I had a really deep experience of it. And it was a friend who was basically bitching about her father, acting like she didn't care. He had basically rejected her. And she was playing it very off the cuff. And I was listening to her words. And then I just started feeling such a deep sense of hurt and rejection inside me. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not mine, that's hers. So yeah, there's often a discrepancy between the words you're getting from someone and then what you're feeling, which of course is where it can be really helpful when you're using it.
Now, Jamie, I don't mean to make this about myself. I'm just trying to actually further define empath for people. I have felt and always felt this through my life that there's certain people I have to stay away from because I take on their energy. Pretty much everyone I'm around, I feel their energy so strongly. But how is that different? Obviously, I have no training and no nothing. But tell me more.
Well, I mean, my first question, I would want to talk to you more about it to find out sort of more detail of your experience of other people. Because my first question is it different? Do you have, empathic ability?
Do I?
I will say...
No, I don't. I'm not saying I do at all. I'm just trying to kind of understand it.
Well, I will say, I don't know if this answers your question, but like my sense of you just from listening to the podcast. Like, for example, when you talk about that story at Larchmont about the guy who beeped at you when you were jaywalking and you let him know that zigzagging is part of the charm of Larchmont. I really kind of felt like, for me, sort of what was going on there was this guy, right? He's got this sort of disowned anger, because obviously I don't think he's really angry about you jaywalking in Larchmont. There's something else. There's a rage in him that he's not touching. But then, he's not touching it, so someone jaywalks, so he blares at his horn, and he's kind of throwing his anger at you, right? And so for me, when I heard that story, when you kind of turned around and let him know, like, hey, this is what's up, I kind of feel like you are receiving his anger and then it's moving through you and you're sort of giving it back to him, which to me is kind of like, I call that being a channel. It's like when things want to move through you, stuff like energy that's in the room, things that aren't being claimed. I'm also a channel as well. So that's kind of the vibe that I get off you. And that's
and things that people might be struggling with that they haven't processed. For instance,
you might be picking up on that?
No, I'm saying, when you do a session with someone, you're typically like, because you told me something interesting, I thought, which is that it's experiential. Is that what you said? Or in your sessions with people can be physical?
Well, they are a conversation, but they're experiential in the sense that, as I start picking up on things and start naming things, people will start to go into deeper parts of themselves and to start to feel these places that they haven't been feeling. To have a different experience of themselves. Does that answer your question?
Yes. I'm just curious right off the bat before we transition into housewives, which is if you would grace us with any thoughts you have about Danielle.
Oh, God.
The little lady.
I'm terrified.
Danielle, why have you changed into your lingerie?
I just want you guys to see me as I am, as I see myself.
You didn't trim those pubes.
Well, maybe not enough for your liking.
Sorry, Jamie.
No, of course. And I've gotten hit. I mean, I want to say it's like when it's either with the housewives or a podcast, I mean, it's based off the information I'm getting off the podcast.
Yeah,
so I don't presume, this is based off limited information, but I have had hits listening to you. And, it's, I want to say, like, I feel very protective of you. Like when I drop into this place.
I'm tearing up. Go on, Jamie.
Because I'm very drawn to your heart as well. I mean, I feel like there is a sort of a heart connection between, like, I experience you both as very loving people. With you, your heart it feels so gentle and it feels so sensitive. And I feel like what you present on the podcast that I hear is, in a lot of ways, like a very thick skin. You take things on the chin and you have this self-deprecating humor, which I love and respect, and I'm sure has served you well in this industry. However, I do feel like there is a place where you do feel things really deeply. I think, for both yourself and I would say for others, I would probably even say the world, which I think is a thing. Like some of us feel things for the world. And so I think if I were to have a conversation with you just based on like what I hear on the podcast, it would really maybe be about, one, are you creating space for yourself to feel the places where, you maybe are sensitive, where maybe it is hurt, where maybe the pain of not being seen, not being, fully understood. And two, like, do you take that seriously for yourself? The idea of, whoa, I've got this gentle, sensitive heart that feels a lot. And if I take that seriously and take care of myself, sort of what would that do for me in my life?
Wow.
Because I think a lot of people don't really own sort of, who they are or what they have. And that's why I was saying to you too, like if you own that you have this sort of big heart that feels a lot, and then you have feelings that come through you, I wonder how that would change things for you.
Yeah.
Like you have a baseline of coming from like a good place rather than being in your head about like, oh, I've got this anger, I've got this anger, I've got this anger. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wow. Danielle.
Guys, I mean, he's not wrong.
That was powerful.
Wow, powerful. I've been seen.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
We're really dropping into something here in the nook.
I'm not going to cry like I did over Erica Jane.
It's okay.
Wow, thank you.
Wow, Danny.
I'm going to have a private session off air.
Yeah. Oh, we'll be coming to see you.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's not getting too personal. Okay.
No. We've set ourselves up for this, so we expected
Yes.
to be seen, and we were.
Yeah. Shall we touch on the housewives?
I think we should touch on the housewives.
Now, I want to say, obviously, and you pointed this out too, this is all in good fun. You certainly don't know these women at all. I mean, you're at least sitting in person with us, but these are obviously, monsters on the screen.
Yeah.
And no, I'm kidding.
No.
And this is, as you put it, playful exploration and just fun. And
we are asking you and putting you on the spot to give us basically empath readings of these women that you don't know. So we have put you on the spot, but we're happy to do it.
And obviously take all of this with a grain of salt, but I find it fascinating. So
as do I.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. Maybe we start with Erica Jane since we're kind of coming off Beverly Hills. What's doing?
Yeah.
What's doing? I mean, I think like a lot of people, I've always been drawn to her relationship to Tom Girardi. Because Erica comes off as a woman of, she doesn't come off as just a gold digger, which, by the way, I have no problem with gold diggers, but that just isn't her vibe.
I agree.
So it kind of leaves one to wonder, like, what is going on here? Because they seem to have this marriage that, is based on mutual respect. And I do think they love each other and it seems to really work for them. And so, when I've kind of felt into it a little bit, I think for me, what I'm really drawn to isn't so much about the fact that, okay, he comes from all this wealth. I'm really drawn to the fact that, and you kind of referenced this in your little 10-minute recap, I don't really think the odds are high that she's sexually attracted to him, right? So I just think it's very interesting that she's someone who's created this, very sexualized persona that she can control, right? She puts it on the stage. She sort of creates a caricature of her own sexuality, and then it's left on the stage. And yet she has this marriage where it feels like her heart is open, but her pelvis isn't open. And it makes me kind of wonder, like, I mean, I would guess based on what I'm seeing that on some level it might be a little scary for her to be in an intimate relationship where both her heart and her pelvis are open, because that's such a place of essence and vulnerability. And so like that's kind of what I'm drawn to her. I feel like even if she were married to someone who maybe was closer to her age, I bet she still might be with someone who doesn't really turn her on.
And if I may, perhaps I agree 100%. Mikey, I think, plays a big role in this, actually.
Oh, that's very... Tell me more.
Well, not sexually, but just as, like, I noticed even in the scene with Brian Moylan, behind her was this huge photo of her and Mikey. And I'm like, Mikey's her, like, soul companion, I think. I don't know. Something's going on where that need is being fulfilled with Mikey in some way.
Well, and she compartmentalizes.
Yes.
I mean, that we see. And it makes me sad because I really like her. And I think she's sort of one of the few housewives who I would say is like, I mean, they're all, good people at their core, but, she seems like someone who wouldn't do you wrong if you knew her in real life. And so I want for her to kind of have all of her heart and all of herself, but it does feel like she's set up a situation where it's like different parts of herself.
And sorry, so interesting. And now that I'm hearing you say this, that her persona and her in general is such an independent woman. To be with this older man is so odd.
Do you think they ever had a sexual relationship?
That's the question. I mean, I think even if they did, it still wasn't lighting her up. And I also think that her sexuality, like integrated, does not probably look like Erika Jayne.
Wow.
My sense, and again, this is just based on the show.
But it feels right, and that's why I say wow. I wouldn't say wow if it's a light is going off when you say that, where you're like, you're right. I think.
Well, and I think sometimes the most sexualized people probably are the least sexual in some way, like that put themselves out there in that way is kind of a little performative.
Right, exactly. And in her case, it's literally performative, you know? And so then it makes me sad, it just makes me sad because I'm like,
well, then especially this week when we heard, I didn't know that her father was completely out of the picture.
So sad. Oh, poor Erika.
Wow.
I want so much for her, which is why I cried for her that time.
I know, it's very sweet.
Now,
you mentioned someone else on Beverly Hills.
Well, I was going to actually move away from Beverly Hills, but no. I want to talk about Lisa Vanderpump. Now, just who she is.
I met at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you give her a quick read?
I didn't, but because I wasn't in LA, I felt permission to ask her for a photo, and I got one.
Oh, wow.
And Ken was not having it.
Really?
Yeah,
Was he upright?
He was upright, but he was curmudgeon.
Sprawled on a Baja shelf?
I mean, he was not happy.
Wow. Now, you wrote in your notes to me, and I do think this is really interesting. You said you had some thoughts about, quote, the split in Lisa Vanderpump's heart, her love versus her cruelty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Lisa Vanderpump, when you watch her, I feel like it's very clear. She really does have like a lot of love to give. And I think that's why a lot of people respond to her. I mean, she clearly loves her animals. She loves her children. She loves her family. And when she likes you, she gives a lot. But it's always on her terms. I mean, there is something, very sort of, she's created a little empire. And I do think the women are on point when they say that she tends to favor either like the new women or sort of people who kind of need something from her. So I feel like with her, there's such it's like, I'll give you my love, but only as long as, I'm in the driver's seat and I get to kind of treat you however I want. So to me, there's just kind of a real split there. So, I mean, based on kind of, the work that I do with people, what I would imagine sort of based on what I see on the show is that this was someone who at one point sort of early in her life was a very big-hearted, girl with a lot of love to give, and that something somewhere kind of came in and hurt her there in a way that she does not want to feel. And so it's kind of like now, just like I said, there's just that tinge of like, kind of like you're going to pay the price. I'm going to love you, but you got to do it my way. And if you don't do it my way, you're gone. And I think there's a lot of like underground pleasure there because it kind of keeps her in control. But I do feel there's like a really deep wound somewhere in there around her heart, which is why you kind of see this sort of dualistic experience with her. Does that make sense?
No, completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
And I think her love of animals is so strong. And I think those people that love animals so much are such big-hearted people. And so that is where you can see a lot of her love, but it almost feels like she's freer to love animals unconditionally.
For sure.
And I think that's why I think it really bothers her that she can't get at Erika Jayne. Like other housewives, she has tussled with, you know what I mean? Or like she can't control them, but Erika Jayne doesn't give a fuck. And that's the first time someone hasn't given a fuck about Lisa Vanderpump. She might fight with them. They might wrestle for control. They might hate each other. Erika Jayne doesn't give a fuck about Lisa Vanderpump. And you can see it bothers her.
And I feel like for me, the connection between the two, I like with both of them, I just really feel just kind of, just like I said, that just a guarding the heart, basically. Like they both feel like two very sweet women. They present very differently. I think Lisa Vanderpump is more, like her heart's more embodied, like on a day-to-day basis.
She's warmer and like she has a warmth about her. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and I don't think Erika has the cruelty of Lisa Vanderpump, but I think they're both very kind of like, I'm not going to go all the way into
Funny,
this.
I don't find, again, I don't know her. I don't find Erika Jayne cold. like that characterization that the other women make of her on the show, to me, I don't get that. But do you?
I would personally not describe her as cold. And in fact, I like her.
I think she is so warm that if her light is not shining on you, it appears very cold.
Oh,
so
that's
Dorit
interesting.
feels that absence.
See, I do think that Erika Jane is controlled and compartmentalized. So that's what, when they say she's cold, I'm wondering if that's what they're picking up on and they're translating it as cold. But
Speaking of cold, now I don't know that you listed her, but I'm just curious and feel free to say no. Do you watch New York at all?
oh yeah, I watch every single
Okay, I'm just curious what you would think about another guarded person, which is Bethany.
Bethany.
Wow, you've given her some thought.
Bethany. I mean, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not a super fan. I'm not a super hater either way. Sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't as a viewer. I mean, I think with Bethany, I think that sigh is like she's exhausting. You know, because I think she's exhausted. You know, I think with Bethany, like my sense of
The
her.
exhausted are exhausting.
Exactly. I think that she has sort of white knuckled her way through life, you know, and I think, look, she's a very powerful woman. I mean, obviously she's created a lot. You know, I think the thing about Skinny Girl Empire, it's like this never really felt like sort of a labor of passion or love. It felt like she wanted to be successful at something. First, she was a vegan baker, you know, then it was like the cocktail line, and then she struck gold. And now she's just all about, you know, promotion. And I just feel like, for me, I just always feel like she's hanging on by the skin of her teeth. The thing about Bethany, though, is that I do see someone who, first of all, is very intuitive. I think that's like why she's so she's able to, you know, to call people out so succinctly. I think she's a total introvert too. She's so sensitive, which I think is a huge part of why it's just hard for her sometimes to deal with situations. And I don't think she handles it well. Like when she just shuts people down and starts running around the room like a crazy person. I think she hopefully one day can learn to sort of manage, you know, her energy and how much she's sort of taking in. But I do feel that she's someone who's like, I just feel she's deeply spiritual. That's my sense. I feel like
Bethany Frankel.
Yeah, I really feel like she wants to have a spiritual life. I feel like even
She's lacking it.
yeah, like I feel like she's never going to be fully whole or happy until she tends to her spirituality. I think you've seen that like recently if you're following her, not that I do, but I've sort of picked it up on Facebook here and there. Like, you know, she's been very involved with the Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And you can feel it. It's like, oh, you're really in something right now. And it feels great and it looks good on you.
You're so right. It feels so different than her Skinny
Well, it
Girl.
feels passionate. It feels passionate.
Feels more real.
And it's of service. And to me, it's kind of like, this isn't a surprise to me. Like, I feel like there really is
It was a
something
surprise
in you.
to me.
Shocking to me.
Really?
I was like,
Didn't
wait,
see it
what?
coming.
And I was like, well, this is a flash of the pan. And the fact that it kept going, I was like, oh,
I was
she's
inspired.
in it.
I just think it's so hard I think she's so obsessed with the celebrity culture. I think she's so obsessed with herself. I think she's so used to white knuckling everything that the idea of kind of just like taking a step back, breathing. I mean, I think she should do some sort of like eat, pray, love type, like just take a month off, go to, you know what? I don't know where, I mean, I'm being a little bit glib, but like, you know, go to India, like just get connected to something deeper. I think it's the missing piece in her life, to be perfectly honest.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Vicky because she, to me, is in the more pain. I mean, Shannon's in pain, but it feels like new pain. Vicky's has, to me, is the most wounded of all these birds.
I just get so excited talking about Vicky. I don't even know what to do. I mean, what do you say about Vicky? Sorry, I don't know what to say about Vicky. I love Vicky. I'm a Vicky apologist to
Really?
the end of time. Yeah,
She's so cruel. No?
I think she is an open wound. Here's the thing that I love about Vicky. Like, and I know she got a lot of flack for this last season. I think maybe even from you guys, but that moment after Meghan King Edmonds Sip and See, where she said, I want to punish them for not being my friends.
Yes.
I loved that. Like, I mean, no, I don't think it was the healthiest response, but I loved that she was willing to own it. You know, I mean, Phaedra Parks would never own,
No.
I want to punish Candy, so I'm going to, you know, spread all these rumors. You know, Dorit would never own, I want to, you know, humiliate and punish Erika Jane, so I'm going to buy her. You know, I feel like Vicky Gunvalson's out there just pretty much saying, I want to punish them for not being my friends. I love her guilelessness. I love that she's just sort of willing to throw it all out there. So I'm a huge I'm a huge fan.
Wow. And you also put on your list Heather Dubrow.
Oh God. Yeah,
I'm just, you know how I feel about Heather. I mean,
that's dark. I feel like Heather gets dark.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree.
You too.
I do. I mean, you want to hear
Yeah.
Heather Dubrow.
Yeah, I do.
So, okay. I'm going to take you on a journey with Heather Dubrow. I think the thing that's really concerning to me about Heather is there are these moments, and they're few and far between, but there are these moments where this level of cruelty comes out that is just so intense. So whether it's the chair thing at Javier's with Shannon, or, the whole way she gaslit Shannon, the bus ride with Kelly, in Ireland.
The time that she had her mic on and she walked away in the
flip
Thai
flop.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Screaming.
Yeah. There's just, it's so deep and dark. And so my first concern about that one is that it comes out so rarely, which to me means there's just this 5-mile chasm between the face that she's presenting and then sort of what's going on underneath. And then the second thing about it is that, she is smart enough to, she has some self-awareness. So she'll come back on the reunion and be like, you know what? None of us were at our best on the bus ride. I had too much to drink. She'll kind of apologize, but it's not the kind of, you know what? I watched myself on the show and that was dark. And, there's something here I need to really take a look at. It feels like she's glossing it over.
In the way that I did feel like Vicky actually did in the last reunion.
That was definitely Vicky's best moment.
I thought it was. I don't
that
feel
was
like
the
I
first
got
time
enough love from you in June. When Vicky, I think it landed on her that her talking about Shannon and her husband was hard for their marriage and for talking about Tamara's.
But to have it land 10 years later,
Wait, 10 years?
Well, 10 years from not the Shannon incident, but she has been pulling shit for so long.
But it's the first time I've seen anything land on her.
I think that she gets
On her side of the street.
so affected by couples breaking up that it actually does genuinely
You're
move
right.
her into her heart.
She does.
And she could hear it for the first time.
Yes, what it had done.
But
You're
it's
right.
sad
She's
that it
so
took-
connected to people who are.
Did Shannon and David Bedour have a good relationship that should have stayed together? Of course not. I'm glad it ended and not in death.
But Vicky regrets breaking up with Don.
She does regret breaking. I mean, I think if I were to say anything to Vicky, it's like she needs to that marriage was doomed, and she was at least emotionally cheating on him. They did try to do the vow renewal. I think she needs to kind of let
really follow the
go.
show.
yeah.
What?
You really follow the show.
I'm a little bit of a historian.
Yeah.
I think she needs to sort of let go of this idea that Don was the answer, because it wasn't the answer. And that is, I think we all know, you don't need to be Madame Cleo to figure it out. She's looking outside of herself for this love tank to get filled. And, it's never going to get
But
filled
I
by
think
anyone
she's
else.
that person that when she's in a terrible relationship, she leaves it, she romanticizes it in the past as though it were better, which is so sad. She can't see it it wasn't going well.
I don't
Yeah.
think she loves Steve Lodge. Not in any real way. In a Dawn way, perhaps, where she's just, it's a warm person.
It's hard for me. I don't
Not
Steve
getting a hit on Steve Lodge.
He's so just kind of like,
He's dead at it.
jumping through the screen.
he feels like a marshmallow to me. He's
is.
just very, it's dense.
You're not wrong.
Okay, two more people.
Okay.
Nene Leakes.
So Nene, I mean, don't get me wrong. As a viewer, she drives me crazy. And I do want to say I saw the Nene that would come to be from the first season, so I was not surprised by any of this. But I do want to say...
Oh, she's a Nene, psychic.
Yeah.
Well,
Nene Whisperer.
I'm not going to... Yeah. I think that the thing about Nene for me, though, that I do kind of see in her, I just feel like there's such terror in her. I feel like if you look at Nene's eyes, at any given, if you kind of cover the rest of her face and just look at her eyes, I'm just constantly seeing such a state of fear. And I do kind of feel, or I would conjecture, that the reason why she's so just shutting things down and just will not let anything in is that I do think she's sort of operating from the place, one, of just deep aloneness. I just get this feeling she's always felt alone. She's never really had anyone to take care of her. I think that's why, there really is that connection to Greg, which always has felt a little strange to their relationship has felt odd. And I think he really is her companion, and he's the one who's going to be there with her. But I also really kind of get a feeling of I think for Nene, there is a sense that if she drops her guard and is sort of any way vulnerable, like there's an experience in her that she really like might get killed there. Like it's fight or flight survival for her, like that she didn't have people to count on, and I don't really know anything about her background. I didn't read her book or anything. But I think
Does she have one? I don't even think she has one.
she wrote one, like
I'm sure she
first,
has.
second season.
I'd love to read it.
Oh, me too.
So I just get that vibe that it's like if you come, if she even perceives you're coming at her, for her to kind of like stop and drop in and be like, you know what, maybe you have a point. I think to her, it really feels like kind of a death. And that's why she's just like, I'm not letting you get the best of me.
Yeah, we're not even going to get close to there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, last person.
I was thinking,
Is it worth doing just a quick hit on Leanne Locken from Dallas?
I mean, my thing about Leanne Locken, I feel that she is, I don't think it's a good thing to be going around threatening people's lives, nor do I think it's a good thing to be breaking glassware at your, perfectly nice, like rental space where you have your annual white party. But that said, what I see in her is that she's trying to like kind of repress her rage. Like that's the work she's doing with her therapist. It's like, let me just sort of push it down. And if I cannot express this or act on this, like everything's going to be okay. And for me, when I see her anger, I don't have that much of a problem with it in the sense that...
Yeah, I don't feel scared.
That's the thing. For someone...
I'm not scared either, but I always think I'm not scared because I'm not in the room. But maybe I just don't because it's not
aren't
scary.
we?
I mean, we are, always.
I mean, I do think for someone who's out of control, she's actually pretty much in control. Like she's never put her hands on someone. You know what I mean? It just feels to me like she actually just has a lot of powerful energy.
Yeah, like Teresa in old seasons to me seemed more reckless and out of control than Leanne.
Yes.
Well, she actually put her hands on Andy Cohen.
Oh, that was the best.
And I do think she sees
God,
red.
I need to see that moment 100 more times.
I think Teresa can forget time and space when she's in that place.
But let's segue to Teresa. And this can kind of cover Jersey as we wrap up here. But you said tonight when you watched Jersey with us that you think Teresa is the only housewife who has truly changed.
Yeah, I'd have to like really scan my brain to see if I stand behind that. But I think she's one of the only ones who has, I mean, look, I think it's within a narrow margin, but I think she has genuinely had a subtle but true shift. Yes.
I agree 100%. The Teresa we knew from old the tree, she would not have been sitting down with Danielle Staub's daughter. And I thought that moment was very beautiful. I teared up.
You did.
I did. I thought it was to face someone's daughter like that. I have to say, I've seen a lot of moments on the show that felt the darkest and most real, but also really kind of moving to me.
Well, I've also, and Teresa said herself, she's never apologized before, and she apologized.
And she used to think that was a bad thing. I think that shift in itself is a huge change for someone. Like, can you imagine Nene going through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would take something like, Teresa. Yeah, exactly.
prison.
Like she went through she was humbled and just brought to her knees in a way that, I think that's because I think the thing you see with a lot of these women, whether it's like Nene or Teresa or Lisa Vanderpump, it's like they just have these blind spots. And I think what's helpful to remember as a viewer, like it might be frustrating to see them so deeply steeped in their defenses. But I do think what's going on in the inside is that it just feels so threatening to them to like concede something. It's just it's tying into some really early old experience of like, if I do this, I'm in danger.
I have a bit of that myself.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do. And this is why I love the Housewives, because it's like such a mirror of our humanity.
But I do see Teresa as a bit of a different person.
No, she has changed. Tonight, I gasped when she said to Melissa, like, I'll help. When she was like, who's going to run, this?
Envy.
Envy. And she's like, I'll help out. I literally said, like, because I've never seen her really offer herself.
Could we get one line on two more people? Just a quick line about, I'd love to know your making of Siggy.
I mean, I've been thinking about her because obviously she's active right now. I don't really know what to say. I mean, she's just another one. She's got a deep need to blame Margaret. I think it's fascinating that she's willing to kind of apologize to everyone but Margaret. it's almost like too much for me. I don't even want to go there.
You can't even break her
It's
off.
like whenever I start to drop in, I'm like, I don't want to feel this. It just feels like, I will say I find her relationship with her son to be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. John, what's his name again? She always calls him like
Jonathan?
No, it's like
Joshua.
Joshua. But tonight she
like
she
Jan Joseph.
Yeah, it's like Jan Joseph. This is Jan Joseph.
Margaret's ex Jan Joseph.
So strange. But then Siggy went into like a character like Vinnie Barbarino or something tonight when she was like, Sig ain't stupid. I was like, what?
She thinks of herself in the third person. Like she thinks she's such an icon to herself or something. You're right. She's too dark for me, actually.
I mean, you want me to drop in and
Sure.
see if I see anything around Siggy? I don't know if I will, but let me just grab my little crystal. So what? This is Siggy and this conflict with Margaret? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with this? I just feel like there's so much going on in her. Like there's so much. I think that there's just, I think is overwhelmed by the level of sort of emotional experience that she's having, and she doesn't know what to do with it. I think she can't even quite identify all the different things she's feeling and where they're coming from. And so it's just kind of all getting vomited on one person. But it does, like, I mean, when I sort of feel into her, I get overwhelmed, which I just take as information that on some level she's overwhelmed.
She reminds me of actually kind of the worst parts of the self-help world in LA, as far possibly from you as one could get. And like acting teachers I used to have, where it's like they're such a fucking mess that they then tell themselves they're an expert in that field.
I definitely have judgment.
The way she's like a self-help person and she leads retreats.
Yeah, and just like wants everyone to recognize what's in themselves, but is so blind to her own issues.
And it's actually like charging people money to help them. It's comical.
Mm-hmm.
I have judgment about her being a self-help practitioner out there in the world.
The final person. I just want to hear one, just anything you can tell us with Dorit.
Oh, man. I'm so like split on Dorit. Just as a viewer, she sort of tickles my fancy. I enjoy her outfits. I enjoy her fire. I don't like to think about this particularly because of who her husband is, but I think she's got like a really great sexuality to her. Mm-hmm. She just seems sort of fun and in her body. And so I always kind of want to like her. But then it's just like, I mean, that moment where she's like doing her sunglasses and she's like, oh, you always make fun of me for doing the sunglasses. And it's so extra. She's trying so hard. I just don't know what to make of her. I don't really know what to make of her. It's hard to sort of really feel the authentic Dorit. I haven't really zeroed in on her.
That's why I asked, because I can't get a read.
I do enjoy Dorit, though.
I do too.
But it is I agree with, the question about the finances. It's like, who are these people? I don't understand their lives. I don't understand the house that they live in.
When I watched them put on that dinner for Edwin and Teddy, it was so sad to me. It was like showing off kind of this nouveau riche, like new money, but also trying to show like my wife cooks, this very false like play about this traditional family. It was so strange.
Yeah, their whole life. I also can't quite get a read on like who these people are.
There was a fireplace behind PK, and I'm like, it really felt the coldest house I've ever
Oh, I hate their house. I hate their house more than I've ever hated any housewife house.
The exterior of their house is downright ugly.
And inside, when they showed what they had done to it, I could make heads or tails. I was like, it's so cold and strange and looks like a house that no one lives in.
Yes.
I do find it strange that they both have such selective memory about any wrongdoing last season. It's like Dorit just cannot wrap her mind around the fact that she did make little insinuations about Lisa Rinna's Xanax use. And I'm not saying that Lisa Rinna was, justified in her reaction, but there was a part that Dorit played in this. And
she acted as though it came out of absolutely thin air.
And same with Erica Jane, that whole joke about the underwear and that giving her when her husband saw her vagina. Like, I thought that was pretty cruel.
It was very cruel. And so it does make me curious about her. Because we never really got to the bottom of that, right? Like, where did that come from? Why did she feel such a need to punish Erica Jane?
Do you think she's in love with PK?
I wonder about that all the time. She seems to be, right?
Yeah, she talks about it.
She does.
She talks a big game.
About Bubba.
I mean, as women... I don't know. Like, how do you? I don't. It's hard to make heads or tails of. Like, did she?
She's made a trade-off with the devil.
You think so?
And she's sticking to it. I think she's like, she's willed herself into believing it. I think.
And has she willed?
It is a performance a little bit. Like there's definitely the way that they talk to each other and stuff. It feels like a performance.
And her accent alone is indiscriminate.
Is she sexually attracted to him? Because like I said, I feel like Dorit has fire in her. Like she's
You're right. You're
alive.
right. Mm-hmm. She is alive. I feel like I'm dead. Jamie Stein, this was unbelievable.
Yes, thank you.
And I want to just tell everyone, should anyone, and you actually were so sweet because you were not interested in necessarily like promoting yourself, but we have basically insisted that you do. You have a website, I'm going to tell people, which is hollywoodreadings.com. And I can't say enough about you. You are, I think, have provided amazing insights.
Yeah, you made us think about
I was
ourselves
fascinated.
and about some of these women we hold dear in our hearts that don't know us and we don't know them.
And I'm seeing some people in a different light.
That Nene thing was riveting, and the Bethany thing was riveting.
And Erica and Mr. Girardi.
Yeah, just see what happens when you have those little seeds in your brain and you start watching them, and it kind of adds a different flavor.
It sure does. Thank you so much,
thank you.
Jamie.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Wow.
guys.
Guys, we've come to the end of our
We sure have.
little show.
I would just like to shout out a few things real quick. First off, I just want to plug Improv for Humans, my husband Matt Besser's improv podcast. Very funny. And he and I just did an episode recently, the two of us.
Were you wearing a
No, it's not wearing my lingerie. Like
lingerie?
my breasts were firmly in a bra as opposed to swinging about. But we did it just the two of us, and I think it's quite funny, and we talk about the housewives in it too, and my love for it. And then also, I just wanted to shout out a friend of a friend. I'd like to shout out Alyssa. Lila and the rest of your Fight Club love you. So we're sending you some love, Alyssa. I know it's been some tough stuff recently, but you have a lot of people that love you, and we're thinking about you.
And last but not least, we have a live show in Los Angeles in February at Largo.
Yes, our Valentine's show. So we're really excited. So go to largo.com. We'll have some fun guests there.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you so much, April.
Thank
Luce,
you.
July.
Thank you, Brian Moylan. Thank you, Greg Bennett.
Thank you, Leonard Cohen.
Yes.
Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, thanks, Lou.
This one's dedicated to Lou.
Yeah. Bye.
Hello, Earwolf podcast listener. Scott Aukerman here from Comedy Bang Bang. It's a brand new year, and you know what that means. It's time for Comedy Bang Bang to count down the top episodes of 2017. You voted for your favorites. Now you can hear Paul F. Tompkins and myself talking about the best episodes of the year on our Best of 2017 specials. Listen to the whole 4-part special this week on Comedy Bang Bang, and I'll see you in 2018.
This has been an Earwolf production, executive produced by Scott Aukerman, Chris Bannon, and Colin Anderson. For more information and content, visit earwolf.com.